Hey guys, Mikey from Templar Airsoft.com. Thanks for watching. Q&A session 7, I think this is now. So let's go on with it. Matt Beddoes asks my opinion on HPA Systems. Great bits of kit. Not a fan of the hose. Almost feels like a step backwards when using them. But in terms of reliability and consistency of FPS, you know, they are great. Unfortunately, there is a scope there for it to be abused. Massive high rates of fire, I do not agree with. I don't see why anybody needs a high rate of fire like some of these guys have with these HPA systems, to be honest. And the only reason you would need that is, in my opinion, to inflict as much pain on the receiving end as you can. Now, if you're in a group of friends, and you all understand that, you know, me and my group of friends, particularly my military friends, you know, that would be the sort of dumb shit that we would probably do, playing a game with each other. But doing it, having a rate of fire like that at a field where you're playing with people that you don't know, isn't really on, in my opinion. But they are fun to use. I used Buzz's HPA Glock 17 a few times, Buzz from Just Cause Airsoft, and it is a great fun system, but not something I would run with every game. You know, carrying the tank and everything like that just doesn't do it for me. I do prefer a more realistic type of gameplay and functionality. So on that basis, I probably never get one, but you know, I don't have a problem with them if they're used right, and you know, they're used fairly in normal game scenarios. Matthew Spencer asks about doing a kit video for a 24-hour op. I will be doing a specific video on what I'm going to take to 24-hour op I've got next month with Airborne Airsoft, but in a nutshell, you've basically got to remember that you're extending your gameplay by about 4 times. So effectively, you need 4 times as many batteries, BBs, pyro, and obviously kit to sustain yourself. Because of the length of time you're going to be out in the field, there's obviously that there's more time for you to get a lot dirtier and a lot wetter and a lot colder. So in terms of kit back in the car, I always take a spare change of clothes anyway, but I would definitely recommend having a spare change of clothes in your car or in a bag back in a safe zone that's going to stay nice and dry, so that when you do come off the game field, you know, you've got something comfortable to change into for that journey home. In terms of taking out into the field, personally, I will be taking a Bergen. In that Bergen, I will have probably a spare t-shirt, a spare change of underwear and socks, for the simple fact that if you get minging wet feet within the first couple of hours, you know, by the time it comes to night time, you're going to be pretty uncomfortable if your feet are still wet. So if you've got that spare change of socks, it's easy to just change your socks, basically get a nice dry pair of socks on and keep your feet dry. There's nothing worse than having minging wet feet for an extended period of time. On top of that, I will have a sleeping bag. Sleeping bag will be inside a basher, a BB bag. A brain fart then. Sleeping bag will be inside a BB bag. A BB bag is essentially a bag that your sleeping bag goes in. It's basically a waterproof bag. It's really good. You can just sleep in that and pull a hood over without a basher or a poncho. On that as well, I'll be taking a basher. I've got an old, from my army days, an issued basher that I'll be using to create a shelter if I can't get into a building. And on top of that, I'll be taking a few layers of warm kit as well. So it'll be probably a long sleeve thermal type top and then some sort of fleece. And the idea is that once it starts getting cold in the evening, because you've got to bear in mind the even during the summer, you should always bear in mind the extremes of temperatures that we can face in whatever area of the world you're playing in. So in the UK, even in the summer, it can get really, really cold at night. Particular, this op's going to be in November, so there is, although it doesn't snow very often in this country, there is the possibility for snow. So the idea being, as it gets colder, you increase your layers. So first thing that go on once it starts getting a bit nippy is t-shirt will come off, thermal long sleeve top will go on, t-shirt back over the top, and then if it gets colder and colder through the night, fleece will go on. Whilst you're moving around, you won't need to wear any more than that, really. The other thing to consider is your food for your sustainability. For myself, I'll be getting 2 24-hour ration packs, sort of British Army issue style ones. The reason for that is we're only on the ground for 24 hours, but it's better to have and not need than need and not have. So 24 hours worth of food for the op, and then I will take another 24-hour ration pack in case I run out of food, because nothing worse than being cold, wet and hungry. And obviously this stuff can just keep until the next op. So if you end up with a surplus of, if you end up not even eating that full 24 hours worth of rations, you've got that left over for the next op. In terms of where you can get those, just Google, if you're in the UK, Google British Army rations, and you'll get a load of websites that give you the option to buy basically British Army style rations. Be very careful when you're buying them, because I believe the current issued ration packs I don't think they've been put up for surplus yet. So if you buy those, they are effectively stolen goods. So most websites, I typed in just now British Army rations, and the top search that came out, looked at it, it's not an actual British issue ration pack, it's one that's based on that. And it's about I think it came in at about £5 a box, I think it was, or £10 a box, something like that. Excuse me. So don't buy the current issue. Look into it before you take my word for it. But I'm pretty sure they're not up for surplus, the genuine issue ones. You can also buy the American versions, Meals Ready to Eat MREs. They're very good as well. They normally come in 1 bag per meal, so you need 3 of those for the day, or 6 for the weekend, I would suggest, just to be on the safe side. But if you go on Google, you can find those. I say just be careful you don't buy the current issued ones, because although there are some places selling them on eBay, but you are effectively handling stolen goods, I believe. So just be cautious of that when you're purchasing them. To cook them, they come in board in the bags, and it's basically brew kits and things like that. So what I've got is a little gas stove. It basically takes a little butane tank, screws on the top, some little arms come out, and then I'll get a metal mug on top of there, put the boil in the bag in, fill it up with water, bring it to the heat to heat up, take the boil in the bag out, top it back up with water, and I've got a hot drink and then a hot meal as well. The good thing about those as well is you can go hard routine and just eat them cold. So that's another option you've got there as well. One thing I will suggest is make sure you take a spoon, because these ration packs, they never used to come with spoons. I don't know if the modern ones come with spoons. Some of them do, some of them don't. So get yourself a plastic spoon or a metal spoon, to make sure you can actually eat your food. You don't want to be trying to pour some of this stuff in, especially if you're eating it cold, because it can be quite thick. The other thing you can get for cooking it is a jet boil. I've used jet boil a long time ago, and only used it for brews. I never had one when I was in the army. According to a fair few of my friends that are still serving, they're not that great for heating up boiling bags, and although they're awesome for making a brew, and they're quite expensive as well. I think they come in at about £50, whereas a metal mug and the gas cooker, you could probably pick them up for about £20. So yeah, the key thing is obviously just sustainability. I will be doing, as I said, I will be doing a specific video on the kit I'll be taking to that upload, so keep an eye out for that video. Fles Airsoft asks on Instagram, if you don't know Fles Airsoft, recommend following him. He's a great guy, does MilSims, and put some good content out there. He's on Instagram, YouTube and Facebook, and he asks my take on training for Airsoft, and do I think that if a Sunday skirmisher or a new player comes up against a well-trained, pre-formed sort of team, you know, can it ruin their experience of Airsoft? I'll answer the first part. You could probably all guess my answer on that. Training for Airsoft, I think, is a great thing, even if it's just as simple as sitting in your bedroom, dry firing up and bringing your gun onto a target. Any form of training for anything will improve your standards and your gameplay. So training for Airsoft is, you know, in my opinion, it's definitely a good thing. I would love it if everybody that I ever played with had, you know, the same sort of training that I've had, because it would create some awesome experiences for those of you that have never been involved in big formation tactics and things like that. But that is not to say that that's the way things should be done. That's just the way that I enjoy things. So I think it's very subjective. You know, it all depends on what you want to get out of Airsoft. There are guys out there that obviously just want to rock up in their trainers and trackies and spray and pray all day, and if that's your bag, then, you know, that's cool. That's how you play, that's fine. But I think every player would benefit from some form of training. As I said, whether it's just practicing, getting your target, getting your sights on target in your bedroom, or if it's going and attending some training days. You've got CAG up in the north. They run some excellent training days. Just Cause Airsoft that I help out on, we run some training days as well. And there's Airborne Airsoft, I think. They do some training days as well. They're the only sort of three regular things, the three sort of regular training things out there that I know of. But yeah, I think training is a good thing. It will help everybody. Do I think it can ruin a player's day or an experience of Airsoft? It can, but I think that's all down to the individual. For me, the last stop I played at Longmoor, I command the Vendetta team for the Airborne Airsoft MilSim series, and I didn't have any of my teams that I normally have there. So I'm the commander, and I normally have about 11 fire teams under my command on radios. I had none of that, and we got smashed all day by the other force, the NATO forces. They had all their fire teams there. They were all on comms, and they were able to manoeuvre on us efficiently. We got smashed all day, but it wasn't shit. It didn't ruin my experience of Airsoft, because I took fun and I enjoyed the fact that I had to try and figure out how to get around these guys. It turned out I wasn't able to get around them, and we got smashed all day. But I think that's, if you're gonna you've got two options if you're getting smashed by a team that's trained. You can either piss and moan about it to the marshals and complain, or you can take a step back and figure out a way to get around them and work around it. Everyone has a weakness. Every team has a weakness, and you've got to find that weakness and try and exploit it. And for me, that's part of the fun. I know not everybody's gonna take that view, but in my opinion, you should try and figure out how best to beat them. There are going to be some scenarios where a formed team that's done a lot of training are just going to smash the crap out of new players or guys with less experience or less training, and there are going to be certain scenarios where, you know, there's going to be nothing you can do. You're just going to get pinned in and it's going to be a bit shit. But in those scenarios, the marshals, if they're good marshals in sight, they should be able to spot that there's an imbalance there, and they should at least pull some forces back or create some space, so that the players that are getting hammered can move around. But yeah, I think training is a great thing, and I think in terms of ruining someone's day, it all depends on that person. You know, if you're a bit of a whinger and a bit of a moaner, you know, it's going to ruin your day because you're just going to see the negatives in it. But if you're the sort of person that likes to try and figure out a problem and likes to try and work things out, then you should enjoy that aspect of trying to beat the unbeatable. So that's my take on training. But yeah. So that's it for this week. If it's your first time to my channel, I'd love to have you subscribe. I really do appreciate every single one of you guys that hits that subscribe button. So as I say, if you like what you see, click away. And that's it. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.